probably one of the biggest debates in the country and in the Anglican communion worldwide is the issue over human sexuality and gay rights. And these debates really hinge on a sort of a religious justification and a style of argumentation and a religiously based bias. And so as a religious body, what would you say is the Episcopal Church's sort of unique role and opportunity for ministry in these debates?
I think our ability to foster a civil and a holy conversation. Our ability to hold together in one body people who disagree vehemently about some of these issues, and yet say that together we're all going to grow if we can engage in these conversations together. If you're absolutely 120% certain that you're right, there's not much possibility of conversation or conversion. But I think God is calling all of us to a holier and a wider understanding of what it means to be created, and to be created as a sexual being, to be created as God created Adam and Eve in that one of those creation stories in Genesis, who need partners, who can't abide being alone. When we can begin to do that, I think we're all going to have a richer sense of what it means to live in holy relationship. I would push a little bit about the first part of what you said. I don't think these are the predominant debates across the Anglican Communion. I think they're what get the blog time. I think the profound debates are more about the issues of the Millennium Development Goals. It's more about wretched poverty and the fact that girls don't have the same access to schooling as boys do everywhere, and that too many women die in childbirth, and that there aren't enough malaria nets everywhere yet, although there could be pretty soon. Most parts of the Anglican Communion are dealing with very basic life and death issues. And human sexuality comes into that in many different ways. And if we can talk more creatively about what it means to be created, I think we can be more responsive to all of those issues.
You know, it seems that we pull back the curtain, pull back the layers, peel back the layers, that we don't fear the nets. We don't fear people living in poverty. We don't fear the hungry, the homeless, but we fear talking about human sexuality. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's my generation as a white Southern male. I don't know. But I hear conversations that may not dominate the Anglican Communion, but they are intense at times. Mm-hmm. And they seem to be rooted in fear. Because I may have to admit something either about myself, mm-hmm. something in my beliefs that have been wrong over the years, mm-hmm. and I have to come to grips with that. Mm-hmm. And we really shut down on that at times. Mm-hmm. How do you crack us open to have more conversations about that?
I think most of us are cracked open a little. I'm quite serious. I think we're all wounded about this in some way. Mm. Having the conversations depends on a willingness to spend time and be a little uncomfortable. It's like wrestling with Scripture, but it's more personal for many people. When we can, 50 years ago, people never talked about sex in public or at the dinner table. We have to cultivate an environment in which it's possible to talk about the holiness of sexuality, that it's part of the way in which God has created us as good and blessed and beloved human beings, and that it's not a dirty part of our creation, it's not a shameful part of our creation, it's part of our creation, and it's a gift. But like all gifts, it's meant to be used well.